Today I got a 2013 Chevy Equinox doing a timing cover gasket on it. I'm going to show you how to do it, or at least how I do it. Stay along with me. Alright, so in order to do the timing cover, we got to remove the upper portion, this piece. Got a screw right here to get this off. And one down here on the front of the box. And you just pull off once you get those loose. Now onto your air filter box. Two screws right here. Right here. And that one's next to it. 10 millimeter. Unplug your mass airflow sensor. Get those two screws out, which are 10 millimeters. Slide it forward and out. Remove the engine mount. Underneath the engine, I'm going to put a jack to hold up the engine while I remove the mount. Okay, I now have the engine supported underneath with a jack. Take these three bolts out. Now the two on the sides of the motor mount right here are 18 millimeter. And you can just pull the mount out. Okay, the bolt right there. Those three, and then one on the edge. That'll leave you with something looking like that. Now this is another mount that we'll have to take off. One bolt here, here, and there's one down here that might be hard to see, but those are also 18 millimeter. To get to this one, you can jack the engine up a little bit and it'll help you be able to access that bolt. So we'll get those three out. Now when you pull the whole thing out, this bottom one, as you can see, you got one right there and one right there. This bottom one won't be able to get out all the way. So you have to get this one loose too, and then pull it out with the bolt still in there. Now, the next thing we're going to need to move is the belt tensioner, which is a 15 millimeter bolt in the center. Then, we'll get the belt off first, then do the tensioner. Then we'll do the pulley, but I'll take you underneath to do that for the crankshaft pulley. Alright, so to get the belt off, 3/8 ratchet goes right there in the center. There's a little square in the tensioner for it, and then you're gonna just pull up. The belt will loosen. Pull the belt off, and then you'll just take that 15 millimeter bolt out of the center out right there, and you will be able to pull the tensioner completely off. Okay, so once you get the tensioner and belt, tensioner's got this 15 millimeter bolt that's right here. This is what you're left with. I have taken out some of the cover bolts, as you can see. I'll go down below and show you what else needs to be done. Here's the crank pulley. So let's go down below. So once that's all done, you can come down below, take off the right front tire, and then there's a little plastic piece that goes here all the way around. Little push pins. Pull those out and you're exposed to that. Next, we're going to take out that 21mm crank pulley bolt. I use an impact, so it's pretty easy. I've already got it loose. I'm just going to unscrew it. Now, you don't need a pulley puller for this one or anything. What I did is I took 2 small pry bars, got underneath the back side of it, and just pry it on each side just a little bit. Again, I've already done this, so once you do that, you can wiggle it out, pull it straight out, little wiggle. Then you're left with that. So, you'll see more front cover bolts here, here, here. They're all 10mm, except for this one right here. This is a 13mm. The rest are 10. You'll see all the way around the cover. I've already got them loose, so I'm going to go ahead and get those out. Okay, so once you have all your 10mm bolts out, there's a dowel right here and on the other side that makes it stay stuck when you're trying to get it off. So that is, come behind here, pry a little bit, go to the other side, pry a little bit until it starts wiggling. Once it starts wiggling, you should be able to wiggle it out of those dowel pins, and I'll show you what they are. I've already done this. Wiggle a little bit. There it comes. And you're going to slide it right out the bottom. Now there will be oil that comes out once you pop this loose, so you should have a drain pan or something under it. Oil's going to come out because it exposes the oil pan right there. So that's what you're left with once you get the cover off. This is your main timing chain, balance chain. Here's your balance chain, tensioner. So now we'll, looks like the old gasket came off with the cover. So what we'll do now is clean up the surface all nice and good and show you how to put it back together. Okay, so after the cover's off, either before or after you clean the mating surface, on the front of the cover is a seal in here. We're going to change that while the cover's off. So flip it to the back side. Usually take a screwdriver, dig down in there to the back of the seal, little pounds from each side, back and forth. And then out comes the seal. Now to install, we're going to flip it around, wipe out the inside with a rag, any oil or debris, get it out of there. Now, the new gasket comes with a little white piece on top to help you install it. So we're just going to set it down in there as level as we can get it. And we're just going to pretty much flush with the inner part, and then you can just pull out the white piece, and now you have your new seal installed. Now we'll take it over to the vehicle, put the gasket on it, and we'll mate it back up to the engine. Okay, once you have both mating surfaces cleaned up, crank seal installed, you can see the dowels. One's right here, and then one's on the other side, basically just straight across from it. You can use those to put the gasket on first. Right here on the gasket is a hole. Same thing on the other side. Now you're going to put it into where these are going back. So we'll slide this up in here. See how these are going in. Line up the two dowels with the hole. Now you can take your front cover, slide it up in there. Should match up. Again, the dowels. Make sure it's seated. Then you're going to put in the 10mm bolts back in, all the way around. And torque those to 18 foot-pounds or 216 inch-pounds all the way around. And then we'll get to putting the crankshaft pulley back on. Okay, so after you get the bolts tight, then you're moving on to the crankshaft pulley. Now on the pulley itself, there's two flat spots and a keyhole. Okay, there's two raised edges for the oil pump in here, and there's also a key slot. There's that. There it went into the keyhole a little bit. Then you're going to put the bolt back in. And put the bolt back in, tighten it to specification, and we'll move up top for the rest. Okay, once you come up top, put the tensioner back on. 15mm bolt. On the back of that tensioner is a little bubble, and that's going to match up to a hole that's in the block. Tighten the bolt down, then you can put your belt on. After the belt's on comes this portion of the motor mount, which, remember, we got to keep this bolt in when we put it in. Slide it down in there with the bolt already in the hole. And tighten it a little bit. Go ahead and get the smallest one, which goes on top. Get two long ones. And the short one goes on top, and the other one goes over here. Again, 15mm bolts. I'm sorry, 18mm. Go ahead and get these all tightened up, and then we'll put the other portion on. Okay, after you get these 3 18mm bolts tight, I do have a floor jack underneath to jack up the engine level before I put this first bracket on. Now we're going to go to the next mount, which is this guy right here. Sagging the studs. Now see, it's a little too high, so I'm going to lower the jack a little bit. Right there. And I'll put those 3 bolts back in it. These 3 weird bolts. At least get them started. Okay, so once you get your motor mount bolts tight, move on to the air box. Here's the 2 spots for the bolts. Got a little grommet down there. Just like that. And the 2 bolts. Then your big air box here. 2 little grommets here, and they're going to go back here on these 2. And then that is what goes over your throttle body. So, once you get all that back on, plug your mass airflow in, tighten that down, plug your line in here, then you are complete. Job is done. Put the tire back on, put the plastic peak back on, and you are all set.